Hi everyone, it's Cassandra with Bite Size. How many of you relate to this? You have a product manager that works really hard, develops this long list of items and requirements, but then throws them over the fence and you never hear from them again. Well, today we're going to talk about the importance of operational efficiency to create a product your customers will love and your teams won't burn out from delivering it. So today we have Shivang Shekhar. He is a product manager with many different types of experiences in a variety of different industries. And we actually met because of Cynthia. So in case you missed it, we did another episode with Cynthia a while back. And because of her, she connected me with Shivang. And he's here with us today. So thank you for joining us today. So can you tell us more about your career journey and how did you get into product management?
Thanks, Cassandra, first of all, for having me. And big shout out to Cynthia. Go check out her episode. That was amazing. Thanks for connecting us. Okay. So, my journey, I think I didn't land into product management in a straightforward way. I went through a couple of different places and then eventually figured out, okay, product management is my calling. So back in school, I started building a product of my own. We bootstrapped it. We got some seed funding, tried some building it to some users, did some testing. Then post that, I think I got into the shoes of being an engineer at some enterprise corporations, and I didn't quite like that. No offense to software engineers, that's something great, but it was not for me because I was always looking for more visibility on the customer feedback and the problems that the customers are facing in the product. So I was more interested to solve that part rather than coming and working on refined problems. So post the engineering stint, I realized, okay, product management is my thing, and yeah, that's how it started with Egen.ai. I think that was in 2021, start of 2021. That's when I started. And it's been an amazing journey so far. So I've worked in. I started with payment products, building payment 01 payment products, and then I moved to a small stint of healthcare, and then since past 2.5 years, I've been in working for retail industry with a couple of retail conglomerates to solve their product problems. So and then eventually one fine day I realized there needs to be a podcast on which I have to appear, and here I am.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. I mean, I can definitely relate into the engineering aspects, right? Because they're really into the weeds of things, and it's good that we want them to focus on the code, the work, and following their engineering standards, however it makes sense. But on the flip side, product is more wider view, right? I just said engaging with the stakeholders, seeing the end to end. So, what is your model as a product manager?
For me, I think I still love the details. Of course, as a product manager, you work on product strategy, discovery, and all of that stuff. But for me, in my core essence of working as a product manager, I work end to end, and I focus a lot of my time investing my time with delivery teams. The reason for that is I have a motto that if I'm building a feature or if I'm asked to build a new product, the actual value needs to get delivered. And sometimes what happens in the process of delivery, a lot of other stakeholders do come into picture, and then product managers just step a little back because this is an engineering problem. They're going to solve it. It's a release problem. It's a QA thing. Let me just not get into that. But eventually, what happens is the actual value that you wanted to deliver, it iterates and it becomes something totally unimaginable and something which you did not envision. And essentially, I try to stop that from happening. Not by investing too much, but basically by guiding those challenges which my delivery team faces, and essentially providing them with the product support that they need and the visibility and understanding that they need to deliver this particular feature to the end customer. So essentially, that's my motto, or that's my operating procedure for approaching product management.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome because as you said, you're working closely with like the delivery teams, making sure that they understand and actually part of the journey. Because I mean, I think oftentimes what happens is like we complete a feature, it's like check, we're great, we're awesome, we delivered. It's like no, like it's not that's not the end game, right? Like we can check as many boxes as we want, but if we don't actually, as you said, deliver value to the customer, provide some joy, improvement, or enhancement to the life, did we actually win? And are we actually successful as a team? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely agree with that. Until that value gets delivered to the end customer, my job's not done.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess what are some of these like if we don't pay attention to this end to end, what are some of the challenges that we're going to see then?
I think a couple of challenges which I've clearly seen are basically there's this term called operational inefficiencies that which start to seep in, and a lot of times what happens is that because of these operational inefficiencies, there are like productivity is wasted. Then there are a lot of increased cost, operational cost. Your OPEX increases. A lot of times what happens is that a very simple change that maybe the QA team thought should be working like this, and the dev team made that change, and you were not aware of it. Essentially,
Mhm.
removes the core essence of that feature out of that feature, and it becomes just another feature that we added. A lot of scope creep happens because of operational inefficiencies. So I think there are direct and indirect costs. Direct ones, like I said, wasted productivity, your increased cost. Indirect ones are that there are a lot of lost opportunities because of this. A lot
Mhm.
of opportunities we miss out just because we were not operationally efficient enough to deliver that value. And because of that, it leads to customer dissatisfaction, right? And then I what I have personally feel is that everybody in the team works so hard to deliver that value, but if that doesn't get translated, it becomes the employee morale
Mhm.
lower. And from an organizational perspective, we should take employee morale as well in one of those costs that comes out of these operational inefficiencies. So I think,
Yeah.
yeah, direct and indirect costs, those are the two ones, and there are multiple others, but I think these are the major.
I know we can keep going on and on about
Yeah,
it. Well said, Shivam. But as you said, right, exactly, you might deliver something that might not work out. The core essence of what was the intention, right? The true problem that
yeah,
was, what the customer was actually looking to solve and so forth. So
exactly.
on the flip side, then, what can we do to make it right? Like, how can we actually be involved in the process? And what are some of the things that you have done?
Okay, so I think see everybody has their own solution because that custom solution is going to come out of your own organizational structure and how your processes work. But some things which have worked for me, I can definitely highlight those. I think the first problem that has to get solved is as a product manager, you need to have the onus or you need to have the control on the narrative of that particular feature being built. You need to control that. There are other stakeholders who are going to come on board, and basically they're going to brainstorm. Of course, accommodating those ideas is good, but at the end of the day, you were the person who spoke to the end customer. You were the person who brought out that problem, listening to those customer interviews, listening to those seeing those analytics dashboards. So essentially, that narrative needs to be very clear in each of these stakeholders, and you as a central piece needs to work with all the stakeholders to keep that narrative intact until the delivery happens. Okay,
Mhm.
that's one which has worked for me. Second is that while collecting data, while doing the product discovery, a lot of PMs spend a lot of time with customer feedback and viewing the data that comes in. But I would feel that general problems in most enterprise products are solved already. We are really solving those niche sectors or those sectors where we can actually make a difference, right? Everybody has a good app these days.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
like bad app anymore. So what I feel is that focus groups are very helpful. So why what I mean by focus group is that read through your Adobe Analytics, read through your Google Studio, and figure out what is that customer segment that you should actually talk to.
Mhm.
And essentially, focus group is not always outward. focus group sometimes also is inward. So for example, say for example, your QA team is not automated enough. That is causing delivery delays. So that's one focus group problem that you can solve. How do you automate a lot of things that your QAs are manually doing? That's something you can, because essentially that reduces the time to delivery or the time to value that we essentially measure, right? So that is one. And then I feel the one thing which has worked very well for me is that whenever I'm working on a new problem, I put my own knowledge and biases outside the room. So, for example, if I'm developing a new product spec of a service rewrite, or a rewrite of an onboarding or an authentication page, there is something. Of course, I know about that system. I know about how it works, how it was developed. But I start from scratch as if I do not know anything. It actually helps me to understand a lot of these nuances which other people bring in. Say, for
Mhm.
example, I think a lead might have like a really cool new API that can work there. Your customer might tell you that, okay, these two steps can be removed. Why are you guys even doing this? So approaching problems from without a bias or without a
Mhm.
bias of your own knowledge, not just knowledge of others, that works absolutely well for me.
Oh, wow. I mean, those are very insightful pieces. I mean, things that our listeners can definitely walk away with. So essentially, number one, own that narrative, right? As you said, take in feedback from other folks, of course, because don't work in a vacuum. So bring in other people's thoughts and perspectives. But at the end of the day, you tell that story and that problem and that issue that you're working to address. And then number two, I kind of like what you said, like find that niche, that focus group, right? Like don't boil the ocean, right?
Yeah.
There's probably problems coming from a very like a specific group of people and specific use cases. So leverage your tools that you have and drill down into them, and maybe you find something that is that nugget that is worthwhile to our customers. And third, as you said, it's almost like having a beginner's mind, right? Like throw out your biases, your preconceived notions and everything like that. Start fresh and be like, what is that customer journey, right? What are all the different experiences, seeing, hearing, and what are they touching and interacting with? So like, yeah, have that your perspective, but still start fresh and build, from the beginning. Like if you were doing this fresh and we're solving this, what would it be like? So those are really, really good tips that you shared to me. And that's it. That is our episode. So thanks for listening to Bite Size, and thank you, Shivang, for joining us today. And as always, have a lovely day. Cheers.
Thank you for having me. Bye bye.